Ashley Kikara asks me on Quora, can you buy a trademark that's no longer being used or has a dead status? I'm Andrei Mincov, the founder of Trademark Factory, and here's my answer to this question. Depends on whether the question is whether you can use the same trademark, whether you can register the same trademark, or whether the question is actually whether you can buy it. That's a totally different question. So usually if a trademark has a dead status, it means that the owner, the previous owner, is no longer interested in maintaining that trademark, and probably they're not around anymore. That's the case in 99% of the cases with dead trademarks. However, there's a tiny little risk that even though the registration is no longer maintained, the owner is still out there selling their products and services under that brand, and in theory they can still claim their common law rights in that brand. Like I said, the risk of that is very small, so in most of the cases you can safely use the same trademark, and you can also register the same trademark. So in those 99% cases, the Trademarks Office is never going to, well, actually in 100% of the cases, the Trademarks Office, by their own accord, are not going to cite the dead trademark against your application, because to them, that trademark doesn't exist. However, after your trademark is approved and published for opposition purposes, in that 1% of the cases, if the old owner is somehow still out there and has an issue with you using that brand or registering that brand as your trademark, they may oppose. Like the risk of that is minuscule. So that's about using and registering. Now, to answer the specific question whether you can buy a trademark that has a dead status, the answer is no. You cannot assign a dead trademark. You cannot sell or you cannot buy a dead trademark through the Trademarks Office system. Can you go to the owner of the old trademark and get them to agree that they will not oppose your trademark if their trademark now has a dead status? Maybe. Do you have to do that? Not necessarily, but importantly, if there was a trademark application that matured to a registration, or even if it didn't, and now it was abandoned, it was canceled, it was not renewed, whatever is the reason that this trademark now has a dead status, you cannot revive that, you cannot buy that, and you can't go to somebody, to the old owner, and say, well, can you please sell me that old application so that we would make it live with the USPTO. If a trademark status is dead, it means you have to file a new application. You have to go through the whole process all over again. We'll have a different application number. It will be re-examined from scratch. And just because that trademark may have been registered before doesn't necessarily mean that you will be able to get it registered under the new rules, because the rules constantly change. Case law changes, things get added, some of the things get gradually more difficult to register. We've had some of those cases when the owners of trademarks that they forgot to renew came to us and said, well, can you file it? I said, sure. And we'll file the exact same application with the exact same wording, and we had issues with that. Zhang asks me on Quora, can you patent a revolutionary, life-saving invention without any intention of actually selling it? That is, just to evilly deny humanity the invention. This is actually a great question because it will allow me to explain how the patent system works. Now, just to be clear, I'm not a patent attorney. We don't do patents, but I've been in this industry for so long. I've written so many books that cover different areas of intellectual property that I understand the basics. So when you file a patent application, the deal between yourself and the government, between yourself and the intellectual property office, is that in order to get your invention patented, you are required to disclose everything that's necessary for people after you to recreate that invention after your patent expires. So that's kind of the deal with patents. You can't just get a patent and keep it to yourself. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So with patents, you have to fully describe all the mechanics that make your invention work. And then, assuming that your invention is indeed revolutionary, you're going to get a patent on that, and you're going to have a monopoly on being able to use or sell that patent. But when your patent expires, and that's the bad thing about patents, when your patent expires, and it's not going to be very long, so the whole life of a patent is 20 years after it was filed, and it typically takes around 5 years to get it registered, so at best you get 15 years of monopoly protection after it expires, because you have disclosed your invention to the world. Then the humanity will have full access to what you have invented, and they won't have to ask your permission to use it. They'll just be able to go at it. That's what happens with generic drugs, right? So first, big pharma invests millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars coming up with a new drug. They get a patent on that. They make millions and millions and millions selling the drug in a short period of time. And then after the patent expires, then we start getting all those generics that use the same formula that was disclosed in the original patent, and they can reproduce and make the same drug. What they cannot do, what generic companies cannot do, is call their drugs the same way as the original, because that is protected by a trademark, but that's a totally different story. So with this case, once you've disclosed it, once your patent expires, now it's open for the whole world to use without any issues, all right? And to go back to the original question, do you have to have a real intention to use, to sell the product that's covered by the invention? No. As long as you have invented it, it's perfectly okay for you to hoard this invention to yourself, file the patent, and you're still going to get that monopoly as long as all the other patentability requirements are met, such as novelty, non-obviousness, and usefulness. So all of that will, like I said, give you a very short period of time during which you can enforce that monopoly against anybody else. But after that, you're put in a situation when, even though you are so evil to try to get that 15 or so years of being the only one who can utilize that invention, okay, then after that, it's fair game for everyone else to use that. So you won't be able to hoard it to yourself for a very long time. And another part of it is, since you mentioned humanity, patents are done on a per country basis. So just because you've got your patent in the US doesn't mean anything outside the US. So if you really want to hoard your invention from the humanity, what you're gonna have to do is get your patent registered in pretty much every country in the world, because otherwise, if you don't do that, then somebody else can look at your patent. Let's say you got a US patent, they look at your patent, they look at the formula that you've disclosed or whatever other way you've disclosed your invention and described your invention so that it's easily recreatable by somebody else. They look at that, they go to the country where you don't have a patent, and they can fully, legally make your invention there. So let's say if it's some sort of a life-saving drug or a life-saving procedure or whatever it is, right? So you got your US patent, great. Somebody can set up a company in Canada or in Mexico or in Zanzibar or wherever and start offering that same drug, same procedure to people out there. And if it's really a revolutionary, life-saving thing, well, chances are even Americans will find out about it, and they'll be able to travel to to Canada, to Mexico, to Zanzibar, or wherever those other people will be able to take advantage of your invention. So, in practical terms, it's very, very, very difficult to do that, and it's impossible to do it for a very long time anyway. So really, if you've got a great invention and you don't want others to find out about it, probably a better way to do it is not to disclose it to the world. Just keep it as a trade secret. But of course, the risk with that is somebody else can figure it out. Or if you're planning to just use it to yourself, well, you have to keep it secret. You have to make sure that you're covering yourself every step of the way with all sort of non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that, which is also pretty difficult with life-saving, revolutionary inventions. So I hope this answers your question. And if you found this video interesting and you're not subscribed to this channel yet, well, subscribe to this channel right now, because we post these videos every single day. And if you got a question for me that has something to do with intellectual property or branding or trademarks in particular, make sure you ask this question. And the best way to do it is just post a comment below, and I look at every comment and I try to respond to them all. And some of them I actually create a video just like this one when I provide a detailed answer, because to me it's easier to just record a video than to type. All right, until then, I'll see you in the next video.